Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So it's great to be together, and here we are. It's hard to believe it's already the month of June, and so summer is officially here, and kind of, sort of, and well, isn't it official yet? Not yet. The 20th, all right. I guess I'm in summer mode because I'm leaving for camp on Sunday, so it feels like summer because of summer camp. So I have the privilege of sharing the Bima tonight with Aviv Naamani. We're glad that you are here, and Travis Duval is doing our live streaming, so thank you, Travis. And tonight we are going to start with Hine Matov, page 24, but I'm going to ask everybody to turn to someone next to you, in front of you, behind you, even if you have to get up and move. Hine Matov, right? The word tov is good. So before we sing, tell someone in this sanctuary what was good about your life today. And again, if you're not sitting next to someone, please get up and go talk to someone that you need to. We are going to continue on page 3 with the lighting of the reading and the lighting of the Shabbat candles. Jackie, would you like to come on up and, yes, you, Jackie, would you like to come up and light our candles? So this is Fred Levin's daughter, who's in town, alternating with her siblings, taking care of their dad. So, this is Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Glad you're here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner
continue on page 6. Let's join together on the top of the page. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. So this idea of coming into the sanctuary, into the sacred space, about letting go of the troubles and the hard things, leaving them at the door and embracing the peace that Shabbat offers. So I'm going to invite us to take 3 deep breaths in. The first one, think of a challenge that you had this week. And as you exhale, think about how it was resolved. And if it's not yet resolved, what can you do to resolve it? So take a deep breath in. And let it out. And as we take this next deep breath in, feel how good it feels to have resolved this issue, or how good it will feel once it's resolved. Take a deep breath in. And let it out. And in this final breath, visualize in your mind putting the issue, whether it's been resolved or not, in a box in the back of your closet, putting the lid on, and letting it stay there so that this peace, you won't be burdened by an issue, but rather can enjoy the peace and the holiness that Shabbat offers. Let's take our last deep breath in. And let it out. I hope that we feel a little bit more peace, a little bit more of the blessing of Shabbat. As we join together on page 10 to sing Ma Yafeh Hayom and to recognize how great this Shabbat day is, and wishing each other Sabbath peace.
Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
We continue on page 28 with the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach, Baruch
I know we just chanted the Baruch Hu, and we usually don't read the English, but I would love for us just to read responsively, page 29, the reading that we find in the middle of the page. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. Feeling the presence of our Creator, of the power that is greater than us, can lead to such a feeling of peace and serenity and connection and closeness. And I hope that when all of us leave here tonight, we'll feel at least a little bit more, if not a lot more, connected to God, to our congregation, and to the Jewish people who are celebrating Shabbat tonight. On page 30, we're going to continue with Ma'ariv, our Avim, and we know that looking at nature and the world around us is one of our ways of connecting with our Creator. So we'll join together in Hebrew, page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim uvitvuna mishane itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla goler or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla umavdil bein yom uvein layla Adonai tzvaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. I invite you to rise for Shema Yisrael. Excuse me, before that, we have Ahavat Olam. How could I forget, Aviv? We're not rising, we're singing on page 32.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shofenu u'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toracha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu be'orech yameinu u'vahem negei yomam v'layla negei yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael ohev amo Yisrael.
We rise for Shema Yisrael, the watchword of our faith. Page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated as we join together in the chanting of the Via Hafta, page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We continue responsively in the middle of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. As we will now with Micha Mocha, page 40.
Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai Micha mocha nehedar b'kodesh norah tehilot Malchutecha rahu vanecha B'orkei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam Ze'eli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed.
So we know this next prayer, Haskivenu, is only said at night when we ask God to watch over us and so that we may lie down in peace and wake up to a new day, also in peace. Let's join together on the top of 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. On page 44, we find Vishamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
I invite the congregation to please rise for the Amidah, page 46. We'll continue on the even-numbered pages.
Adonai
Sifatai tiftach ufi agite ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Shimcha Kadosh, Ukedoshim B'chol Yom Yahalelucha Selah. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. So last week, Lino and I were in a synagogue in a western suburb of Chicago for a B'nai Mitzvah service. And as I said, it's a Reform congregation, and they use the same prayer book, and we're chanting the Amidah, and as we're accustomed to, every time there's the choice of saying Hakol or Meitim, we said Hakol. But the vast majority of the congregation, save for maybe a few other guests, who might have also said Hakol, everybody said Meitim, right? And the beauty of Reform Judaism is that we have options, right? Our tradition, years ago, the Reform Jews changed from Hakol to Meitim. I've spoken about it before, and I don't want to be repetitive about why it was changed. But if there's someone who would like me to explain it, the difference, I'm more than willing to do so. I just don't want to be too repetitive. But I love the fact that I felt comfortable saying Hakol, like I didn't switch up to Meitim, right? Because my theology is Hakol. So raise your hand if you've heard me before explain the difference, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, so then I can share, right? Take a moment to talk about it. So traditionally, the prayer book says on page 50, for example, Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei meitim ata rav lehoshia, right? And there are other places where it says mechayei meitim, and at the end, it says twice. You have the option of V'ne'eman ata lahachayot meitim, or Baruch atah Adonai mechayei ha-meitim. And that all had to do with literally reviving the dead, right? The idea of resurrection is a Jewish idea. Many people think it's a Christian idea because we know, right, their ideas of Easter and resurrection. But that comes from Judaism. So the early reformers, who were very pragmatic and logical and rational, were like, we don't really believe in coming back, right? From after you're dead, right? You don't come back to life. And of course, our tradition also teaches that when the Messiah comes, right, that we come back to life. So it's clearly in our tradition. But the early reformers, instead of saying who give life to the dead, right, resurrection, they changed it to say mechayei hakol, who gives life to everything, right? Like God is the creator of everything. This is the first prayer book, since that change was made, that even gives you the option. Now, granted, meitim is in parentheses, but it's a valid option. And most conservative synagogues that I've been to say the word meitim. Hakol is not an option. And so I'm pointing it out. And one of the reasons that it came back in, there's two. Some who say, you know what, that's the tradition, right? And there's some people who believe in resurrection, and others think of it as metaphorically, right? Mechayei meitim. What does that mean? Sometimes life is hard and heavy. We've all had our struggles, and some have had more than our fair share of struggles. And life can be hard, and it could get us down, and it could get us depressed, and we might just feel like, I'm done. Like we're depressed, or we don't have the will to keep fighting, right? And we're just down. And we don't want to go out with people, and we don't want to answer the phone, But then somehow, and particularly after the loss of a loved one, right? The sadness, the grief is intense, the pain is intense, and sometimes it feels like it will never end. But somehow, we find a way. We put one foot in front of the other, right? We answer the phone again. We go out with other people. right? We do that thing that we thought we couldn't do, and we, in a way, come back to life. We're emotionally or spiritually revived. So those are the different ways of thinking of resurrection, right? We're like emotionally resurrected, or spiritually, or literally. So I just thought it was really interesting, because I had worshiped at synagogue many, many times with my aunt of blessed memory and my uncle, and they didn't say Metim, and somewhere along the way there's been a switch, which is fine. But I'm just saying, so I wanted to point that out, that we kind of take it for granted, or I should speak for myself. I take it for granted that in a Reformed congregation it's going to be Mechaye HaKol. But it was kind of cool to be in a Reformed congregation that did it differently, and to just be like, that's great too. So I just wanted to share that with all of you, because, like I said, I found it interesting. So we're going to continue now on page 55. And this is such a beautiful, short prayer, but really meaningful, and something that we all can hope for those who are in these particular situations. So let's read together on the top of 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh ha-Shabbat. The middle of 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Page 59. Let's join together in our blessing of thanksgiving. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us, and for all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. And when it says for the gift of life, I just want to say a big mazel tov to Michelle and Gal Kleckner, who are members of our congregation. They had a little baby girl named Delilah Joy. So I think on Sunday I'll be sending an email, and even possibly with a couple pictures. So mazel tov to them. I don't know if they're online right now, but if you are, mazel tov again. Page 60, our prayer for peace. We're particularly going to think about all the firefighters who are working so tirelessly in Canada, who need peace, who need rest, but are continuing to push ahead to try to put out the fires that are not only destroying beautiful trees and property, but also polluting our air and affecting so many. Shalom Rav, page 60.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
At this time, we call to mind our loved ones who are in need of prayers of healing, healing of body, mind, or spirit. Our prayers are with Lev Dickerman, Teresa Todd, Rich Goldwyn, Erin McElvin, Terry Anderson, Rivka Bat-Frimit, Lisa Duval, Carlene Webb, Joel Gendron, Maggie Barbieri, Ellen Stein, Leela Wilson, Paul Tackett, LMPD officer Nick Wilt, Eric Gershkovich, who's being held in prison in Russia illegally, Mick Safkovich, Tom Sobel, Al Unger, Janet Elker, Fred Levin, Trina Postlethwaite, Ted Gordon, Karen Doddridge, Jen Grove, Marty Rosenberg, Harold Hamburg, Margaret Phillips, Karen Pass, Helene Katz, Ed Gerson, Yosef Avraham Yehoshua ben Bela Liba. If you'd like to add the name of a loved one to keep in our prayers, please say their names aloud as my eyes meet yours. So tonight, instead of the Misha Berach by Debbie Friedman, which we normally play, we are going to hear a Misha Berach prayer that was written by Cantor Leon Scher called Heal Us Now, and it comes from this week's Torah portion. There are 4 words. It's the shortest prayer in the Torah, El Na Refana La, which means God, pray, heal her now, or oh God, pray, heal her. And it's really beautiful. We did it on the High Holy Days, and if you know it, feel free to sing along, and if not, I hope that you will just take it in and
Sheberach Avotenu,
We continue with Tefillat Halev, our own prayers and meditations.
Shalom, bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom, bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom, bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom, bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Thank you, Aviv. So growing up in Temple Shalom in Aberdeen, New Jersey, we used the Gates of Prayer, which probably was also used here, the blue prayer book. And the reading that was usually read when the candles were lit, part of the reading said, "Light is the symbol of the divine." And in this week's Torah portion, which is called Baha'alotecha, it begins by, and it talks about lighting, it begins with Moses telling to Aaron, at the command of God, to tell the people to mount the lamps, the 7 branches, to give light. And the lampstand, which was called in the Torah the menorah, or we would say menorah, kind of our Englified Hebrew, was made of hammered gold. It was solid gold, and it had a base, and it had petals, and there was all kinds of details, and it was very ornate. And we talk about, especially in Hanukkah, the difference between the menorah and the Chanukiah. The menorah is what you see on the front of our podiums, 7 branches total, and the Chanukiah is 9 branches total. So in the Torah commentary called Eitz Chaim, it says the following: the menorah, originally one among many objects in the tent of meeting, right, the tabernacle that the Israelites took with them as they made their way through the wilderness from Egypt to the Promised Land, that the menorah has become one of the most familiar symbols of Judaism, and we know it's actually the oldest symbol of Judaism. More than 1,000 years after the time of Aaron, the menorah became the symbol of Aaron's descendants, the Hasmoneans, who reclaimed the Temple of Jerusalem after the victory of the Maccabees. And it says that the menorah described in the Torah is 7 branches. So we know, however, that it was carried off by the Roman soldiers in a victory parade, and it's featured in a carving in the Arch of Titus in Rome, which celebrated the defeat of the Jews and the destruction of the first temple in 70 CE. But 19 centuries later, that same seven-branched menorah became the seal, the symbol of the state of Israel. And we know that when you visit the Knesset, the way that the seats are set up is in the Knesset, the seats are aligned in the formation of a menorah. So recalling the bush that burned, that was not consumed, the light of the menorah was never permanently extinguished. So this idea of light, it's part of who we are. We begin Shabbat by lighting 2 Shabbat candles. We end Shabbat by lighting a candle, the Havdalah candle. We remember our loved ones by lighting a candle at home that burns for 24 hours. Their light is somehow representative in some way. It's a reminder of their presence. Of course, on Hanukkah, we light candles. Candles are light, and light is a gift. Light, like a candle, can light one to the other. We can take the light within ourselves, because we all have, right? We have a spark of the divine. A spark is also connected to light. We have a spark of the divine. We have that light within us. And when we use that spark and we connect with it, light is also connected with being positive, right? Opposed to, as I was mentioning earlier, maybe we have hard times. It's kind of dark, right? We might not want to open the shades. Dark is more of like the down, but the light is the positive, right? We have fireworks to celebrate celebrations. Again, it's colorful light. Light does something to uplift us. And when we connect with that light within us, and we can bring out our positivity, our energy, our creativity, we can translate that light into love for others and giving and doing. We literally can light another person's candle. And when that person's candle is lit, we know what they can do. They can light another person's candle, and so on and so forth. And sometimes people will take multiple candles and join together and make a big flame. And that's symbolic of even more joy, even more positivity, even doing something that takes more than one to do, but as a group, as a community, we can lift each other up. We can see the brightness. We can be inspired. The menorah is a symbol that really is positive. I've never been to Rome. Has anybody here seen the art? Yeah? The Arch of Titus, and have you seen the, yeah, it's still there? Yeah. So, and that's fine, they can have it, but we know, right, that it started with us, and the very specific directions are given. So what I would say is, if there's a day when you're feeling really on fire, use that in a positive way and light someone else, lift them up. And likewise, if your candle is feeling pretty low and pretty dim and it might go out, don't just sit there with it. Even if you have to say to someone, I need you to light my candle today. I need some help. I need some light. Because that's what we do when we love each other and care about each other and come together as a community. we care about each other, and we light each other's candle. So my prayer for each of us is that our candles will burn bright, and those days when they're dimmer, that either someone will notice and give us a light, or that we'll have the ability to ask for some help. Shabbat Shalom. We will be here tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. for Shabbat morning services. This Sunday from 1 to 3, the Sunny and Janet Food Pantry is going to be collecting food drop-off. There is a flyer in the lobby. We also have been sending it in our email blast. There are particular items that are requested, but I would imagine any non-perishable could be useful. But if you have not yet had the chance to shop, grab the list or look on your phone. And we have a lot of hungry people, unfortunately, in Louisville that really, really need our help. So it's a mitzvah, right? Feeding the hungry, so it's a mitzvah. On June 25th, and the mailing went out tonight, so you'll get it in a few days, but Temple Shalom is having our annual meeting. It starts at 3 o'clock. It is obviously for members only because it's the congregational meeting, but please come. There's always important information to discuss and talk about. And of course, we need a quorum, and we have some voting on some positions, board positions. So please mark your calendars, and please plan to be here 3 p.m. Sunday, June 25th. Also, Watts is having their yard sale, and they also, in the lobby, is a green flyer with items that they are particularly looking for. So if you have stuff that you don't need anymore, we know it's a saying, what one man throws away, another one gathers, right? So, and it's also a fundraiser. So, and there are drop-off dates also that have, I think, been in the email blast, and it's also on the door. So some ways of giving service and helping out Temple Shalom. We are going to continue with Aleinu L'Shabbat. Oh, and I'm going to camp. For those who don't know, I'm leaving Sunday. I'm going to Gucci for 2 weeks. We'll have 7 of our youth at camp this summer. And I will be back June 25th, but I want to make it clear, I am not on vacation. I am going to camp. I am working, which means if you need me, call me. I might not be able to pick up because camp is quite busy for the faculty, between working with the unit every day, between teaching the older kids, between helping counselors with services, with their unit, with their cabins, tutoring bar and bat mitzvah kids, coming up with some all-camp programs. I mean, it starts early and ends late. However, I am here for you, even though I'm up there, okay? So everyone has my number. Just want to make sure everybody knows that. All right, so 282. Let's rise for Aleinu L'Shabbat, which can be found in the middle of the page. Aleinu L'Shabbat la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. Nukurim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. 284. Unote shamayim veyoser haaretz
Umoshal kikaro b'shamayim imahal
ushchinatu zo ushchinatu zo Begofei miromim, Hu Eloheinu ein od.
Emet malkeinu efes ulato
Kakatu betorah 7.
ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Please be seated as we continue in the middle of page 289. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory, slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. If you are here to recite Kaddish for a loved one, you're invited to rise when his or her name is read aloud. Tonight we remember Ruth Berlin Aaron, Gertrude Trudy Beck, Rose Miller, Pearl Monchick, Marvel Phelps, Milton Rand, Mark Spire, Morris Kaplan, Herman Frank, Leona Frank, Lena K. Newman, Maxwell S. Weinberger. We're in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning for Dr. Arlene Spark, and we mourn the loss of Donna Gould. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may they rest in peace as we rise together as a congregation, reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv yimaru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam ulamei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei Dukudasha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'yimeru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as we say together. Please be seated. I want to thank Travis once again for streaming. I want to thank Aviv for being here to lead us in music. And I wanted to acknowledge that the version of Heal Us Now that we listened to was recorded by the group Beged Kefet. After a concluding song, we will reconvene in the lobby for Kiddush and Motzi. Everybody's invited, so I hope you have a few extra minutes to stay with us.
Bim, bam,
Bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, beautiful.
I have a question. So at Shabbat, if say everyone's going to Torah and everything, and say he accidentally, if the Torah accidentally ripped or fell, what would happen?
We'd have to fast for 40 days.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, but we would take turns. Like one person would take a day. So one
actually?
person, one fast.
Actually?
Yeah, we'd have to
You can't
fast.
live without.
But if a person can for a day, so we would rotate. But I'm telling you, we would do it, but we would take turns.
Oh.
But let's pray to God that never happens. Shabbat Shalom.